Birds. They're everywhere. But these feathered flyers have a secret. They're the last living dinosaurs. Soaring through the skies today are descendants of those ancient reptiles that first took to the air some 230 million years ago. And while they might seem delicate and dainty, they possess many clues about their prehistoric past, like hollow bones, wishbones, and, of course, feathers. Hi, and welcome to this channel. In this series, we bring you the latest in dinosaur discoveries, research, and news. And today we're taking to the skies to uncover the hidden world of prehistoric birds. From dinosaurs with feathers to experimental flyers, we'll uncover the surprising secrets of our feathery friends. Today, over 10,000 living bird species grace our planet, from the smallest hummingbirds to the giant ostrich. But these contemporary creatures only tell part of the story. To understand where birds came from, we need to journey back in time to the days when dinosaurs roamed the earth. That's right. Dinosaurs, those mighty reptiles that ruled the earth for over 165 million years, also had feathers. Yeah, seriously. And these feathered ostriches are the key to unlocking the mysteries of how birds evolved. Some of the earliest known bird-like dinosaurs include the famous Archaeopteryx, which lived during the late Jurassic period. It was an incredibly diverse group of animals, but its fossil remains from the limestone quarries of Solnhofen, Germany, have provided invaluable insights into the origin of birds. In fact, the name Archaeopteryx translates to oldest wing. Other famous examples include the Sinosauropteryx, which surprised scientists by having feathers instead of scales, and the Microraptor, a four-winged theropod. Hey, did we just create a whole new bird species? Sorry, we didn't mean to get all Dr. Dolittle on you. But these weren't just any feathers. They were different from the feathers of modern birds, and that got scientists scratching their heads trying to figure out how these dinosaurs were related to birds. But as more and more fossils were discovered, the link between these two groups became clearer. For example, both birds and theropods share a number of skeletal features, including a hole in the back of their skulls called a fenestra, which helped reduce weight and provide support for powerful jaws. They also have a wishbone, or furcula, which is a fused pair of bones that help support and strengthen the chest. Plus, they've got 3 fingers on each hand and 3 toes on each foot. And let's not forget about feathers. Feathers are a distinctive feature of birds and some theropods. But wait a minute. You might be thinking, if theropods had feathers, does that mean they could fly? Not necessarily. While feathers do help with flight, they don't necessarily mean an animal can take off into the sky. See, feathers can serve a variety of purposes, from insulation and display to communication and camouflage. For example, some dinosaurs may have used their feathers to attract mates or regulate their body temperature. They can also protect against predators or help with nesting. So just because a dino had feathers doesn't mean it was a bird. Now here's where things get really interesting. You see, scientists used to think that birds were reptiles. We know what you're thinking. Oh, reptiles? But don't freak out just yet. These flying reptiles aren't the same as your garden variety lizard. See, these so-called reptiles were actually closer to birds than they were to crocodiles or turtles. And yes, they flew. They were technically known as Avian dinosaurs or ornithischians, which means bird hips. This group includes not only modern birds, but also many extinct species. One of the coolest things about these prehistoric birds is the way they flew. Now, we're not talking about the graceful soaring of a hawk or the powerful flapping of an eagle. No, my friend, these guys experimented with every kind of flying, gliding, jumping, flapping, you name it. They tried it. For example, there was the Microraptor, which glided through the skies using its 2 pairs of wings, one on its arms and one on its legs. Talk about a bird-brained move. Then there was the Anchiornis, a tiny feathered dinosaur that could only flap its arms like wings to get around. And let's not forget about the Confuciusornis, which sported a tail that looked like a rudder to help steer it in the sky. These prehistoric birds were truly a mixed bag when it came to flying. Some were good at it, some not so much. But hey, they were trying their best. Speaking of trying their best, did you know that feathers didn't evolve all at once? Nope, they developed gradually over time. Scientists have studied the structure of feathers and found that they're made up of beta-carotene, the same protein found in our nails and hair. This suggests that feathers evolved from simpler structures like scales or hair-like filaments. As they grew longer and more complex, they became useful for a variety of purposes, including flight. But feathers weren't the only thing that changed. The evolution of prehistoric birds was a gradual process that involved changes in their structure, behavior, and habitat. Over time, they developed lighter skeletons, stronger chest muscles, and better balance. These adaptations allowed them to soar through the skies with ease. But they weren't done evolving just yet. As they adapted to new environments and diets, they developed new behaviors and lifestyles. For example, some birds evolved to live in forests, while others preferred lakes and rivers. Some were active during the day, while others were nocturnal. And then there's the beaks. Scientists believe that beaks evolved from teeth, but not in the way you might expect. As birds evolved, they lost their teeth, which may have been an adaptation to reduce weight and make flight easier. Instead, they developed beaks that were better suited to their specific diets. But don't worry, toothless birds of prey have special serrated beaks for catching and tearing up their prey. Meanwhile, seed-eating birds have beaks that are perfect for cracking open nuts and extracting tasty morsels inside. And don't forget about the wings. The evolution of wings is one of the most remarkable aspects of bird evolution. Wings are, of course, essential for flight, but they also play a role in attracting mates and regulating body temperature. Over time, bird wings have become more efficient, allowing them to soar through the skies with greater ease. Prehistoric birds lived in a wide range of habitats, from dense forests to open grasslands, coastal areas, swamps, and even near volcanoes. Some birds specialized in feeding on fruit, while others preferred insects or small animals. The Mesozoic era was a time of great diversity for prehistoric birds, but it wasn't without its challenges. One of the biggest challenges for prehistoric birds was the mass extinction that occurred at the end of the Cretaceous period. This event, caused by the impact of an asteroid, wiped out an estimated 75% of all species on Earth, including many large dinosaurs and large birds. But not all birds were wiped out. Some small species survived, possibly due to their ground-dwelling behavior and flexible diet. These survivors would eventually give rise to modern birds. Hey, remember that asteroid we mentioned earlier? Yeah, it turns out that event had a silver lining for certain birds. You see, while it wiped out a significant chunk of the bird population, it also created opportunities for the remaining species to thrive. With fewer predators and competitors, these hardy birds were able to expand their territory and diversify, giving rise to the thousands of species we see today. It's a classic example of how life finds a way to adapt and overcome, which brings us to the present day. The asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs also marked the beginning of a new era for birds. It cleared the way for the survivors to flourish, giving rise to the thousands of species we see today. So while the impact was devastating for many species, it ultimately paved the way for birds to become the feathered overlords of the skies. So there you have it, folks. Birds may not roar or stomp, but they're dinosaurs in disguise. Their story spans millions of years, and it's far from over. So next time you see a bird soaring through the skies, remember that it's a descendant of those ancient reptiles that first took to the air. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll uncover more secrets of these fascinating creatures. Until then, keep looking up.